Hello and welcome to another video in Foundations of Maternal and Newborn Health. In today's video we're going to be talking about aneuploidy. And this is a continuation on our lectures of genetic diseases. So this is another scary kind of medical term, but I'll break it down. So anu means the wrong number. And anything with ploid in it, or P-L-O-I-D, this means chromosome. So really aneuploidy is just the wrong number of chromosomes. And this can mean either too many chromosomes, or not enough. Okay, so just as a reminder, this is a karyotype. And this is when a lab technician will lay out all of the pairs of chromosomes from a fetus or a baby. So just as a reminder, this would be kind of chromosome 1, and you receive kind of a pair of chromosomes from your parents, one from your father and one from your mother. And the same for all of the pairs of chromosomes all the way up to chromosome 22. In the last video that had a karyotype, we had a female. In this video, it's a male. You can see that the Y chromosome is quite a bit smaller than the X chromosome, so this would be a male. Okay, so coming back to aneuploidies, the most common type of aneuploidy is known as a trisomy. And tri means 3. So this is 3 chromosomes when you should only have 2, right? Chromosomes when you should only have 2 in a pair. So the most common trisomy is trisomy 21. So this is when a baby has a whole extra 21st chromosome. So this would be trisomy 21. Trisomy 21. And trisomy 21 is also known as Down syndrome. So you've maybe heard of someone suffering from Down syndrome, or even in TV or movies, people with Down syndrome it's quite a common disease. So you may have heard of Down syndrome or trisomy 21. And so this is, of course, an aneuploidy, and it's caused by having an extra chromosome, and specifically an extra 21st chromosome. So you can also get other trisomies. Trisomy 18 and 13 do also exist, but most aneuploidies are embryonic lethal, and what that means is that the baby is dead before it's even born, so it causes miscarriages. We'll elaborate a little bit more on that in a moment. So the other type of common aneuploidy is a monosomy. And this mono means 1. So this is 1 chromosome from a pair. Okay. And so the only monosomy that isn't lethal in the uterus, so that doesn't cause a miscarriage that you can actually be born with, is actually monosomy of the X chromosome. So if you were born without a Y or without a second X, and you only had a single X chromosome, this would be called XO for no chromosome. This would be called a monosomy. You only have 1 chromosome where you should have 2. Okay, so that's trisomy and monosomy. So next I just want to talk about a little bit more about aneuploidies in general. So the first thing to note about aneuploidies is that they're thought to play a big role in miscarriages. So a lot of miscarriages are called idiopathic. So this is another kind of scary medical term, but idio from the word like idiot, you can think of idiot. Idio means basically we don't know. We don't know. And pathic is like pathology or the mechanism of disease. And so the word idiopathic means we actually don't know why it's caused. And so miscarriages are often idiopathic, which means that we don't know why the miscarriage happened in the first place. But it's thought that a lot of miscarriages are actually caused by these aneuploidies. And so if a baby is conceived, a sperm and an egg come together and there's an extra chromosome or is missing a chromosome, oftentimes the woman will get pregnant, the baby will start to develop, but then will die because they have too much information or not enough information on how to develop, and the baby won't make it to term. So aneuploidies are thought to be one of the major causes of miscarriages. There are other causes, of course, but this is thought to be one of the big causes of miscarriages. The other big thing to note is that the risk of aneuploidy increases a lot with age. And it's a big increase in risk with age. And there's even some evidence to show that really young pregnancies as well. So if you're having a baby earlier than 20, earlier than 15 even, your risk of aneuploidy also goes up. But really, most of the research focuses on older individuals. And just for kind of ballpark numbers, the risk of having aneuploidy when you're 20 is about 1 in 500 live births. So every 500 births, you might expect one birth to be a trisomy or a monosomy, and that's someone who's 20 years old. And that risk increases to 1 in 18 live births, approximately. So these are approximate numbers. So in 18 live births, approximately 1 in every 18 live births will be a trisomy or monosomy for someone over the age of 45. And one important thing to note here is this isn't just the maternal age. The father's age also increases the risk of aneuploidy as well, although most of the research does focus on the mother's age. But this risk increases for both men and women. So if the father is, 50, 60 years old, even if the woman is 20 years old, their risk of having a baby with trisomy or monosomy increases a lot. So these are just some important facts on aneuploidy. And these diseases are very different than the diseases we talked about in the Mendelian genetics section because they aren't inherited the same way. There's no real way to know whether you're going to get a trisomy or monosomy. They just happen out of the blue during fertilization.